What's up, my friends? Aloha and thanks for coming back to the channel. If you're new here, please like the video, please subscribe to my channel, and if you folks have any questions, comments, or suggestions for videos you want to see in the future, drop it in the comments or find me on Instagram, write me on Facebook, just get at me and we'll talk story. Today I have a video for you folks. We're going to break down the TS12. We're going to fully disassemble it. We're going to do a detail strip on this guy. It's something that I've been looking for on YouTube for a while. Things I've been looking up for on the interwebs for a while and I haven't been able to find it, so I said F it, I'm going to figure it out. Before we get into it, I'm going to let you folks know, one, this video is going to be a little bit long. I'm not going to chop it down or try to make it too short, even though my analytics tell me most people who stay for my videos only stay for 4 to 5 minutes. I want to kind of keep this full length so everybody gets all the information going on in here. Number two, I'm going to tear off the body. We're going to take off the mag tube. We're going to take off the barrel, or we're going to separate everything. I'm not going to take apart the piston, and I'm also not going to take apart the trigger group. Everything else is going to come up. Number three, I'm not going to show you folks how to field strip this guy because I think everybody kind of knows how to do that. If you don't, the link's going to be in the description to this video on how to do that, because I have a pretty good video on how to field strip the TS12 for cleaning. And number four, probably the saddest one that all you guys here are going to listen to me say, I'm not going to show you folks how to break down the mag tube. Reason being, I can't figure it out. I really don't think you can. From talking with IWI, from what I've gathered, is that the mag tube is kind of one single piece that's self-contained and it's meant to just be replaced, like the whole thing. And looking at it after I broke this down, it looks pretty sealed up and it looks okay, but I didn't figure out a way to break this apart and get to your springs and your followers and stuff. If one of you guys are able to do it, please make a video, write me, educate me, let's help each other out. Okay, so let's get down and dirty to this. We'll go ahead and we'll field strip this guy and then we'll get down into the good stuff. Make sure our firearm's clear. Empty chamber, check all our mag tubes with our firearm in a safe direction, finger off the trigger. Let's go. Okay folks, so we got this pretty much stripped down. We're going to go ahead and remove our PeaK rail first. So I'll go ahead and take off this awesome EOTech. If you don't know what EOTech's about, you got to get one. You're missing out. Okay, there's two wrench sizes you're going to need. You're going to need metric number 2.5 and you're going to need a 1.5. All of the screws on this guy are going to be that 2.5. There's only one you got to take off. That's that real little 1.5 size. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll take off the PeaK rail first. Just go ahead and orient your TS12 in such a way that you're able to get it. There's one screw up here in the top. We'll go ahead and pull this guy off. Pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy. Okay, once you get that screw out, your PeaK rail is just going to slide off real easy like that. Nice and solid. Good job, IWI. Alright, once you get your PeaK rail off, we'll go ahead and we'll lay our TS12 down. Either way is fine. I like to do it with the safety selector, the red part, the part that indicates that you're ready to fire, facing up at me. And there's there's 6 screws that you're going to want to take off. We'll go ahead and we will take off everything on the grip and the one single screw up on top of the housing by the piston assembly. Okay, and then this last screw that's up here at the top by your barrel, by your gas valve, is captured. So you're not going to be able to take the screw out. You just go ahead and unscrew it and then the nut on the other side should fall out of your flame. And there it is right there. Okay, once we get all these screws off, there's one hidden screw, a smaller one that took me a while to find. But you're going to go ahead and grab that smaller key. I think it was 1.5 millimeter, and there's a screw inside of your safety. So you can go ahead and switch your safety on to safe and then go ahead and pull this screw out. Okay, once you got this, you can go ahead and take your safety out. It just pops out just like that. Okay, now at this point we'll go ahead and you can grab by where your QD socket goes in by your butt pad, and then kind of up front anywhere is good. Just kind of lift up and wiggle. Okay, and wherever it's kind of stuck or along the seam, you can kind of see where it's stuck at, and everything should come off. Perfect. Okay, you can go ahead and separate it. We see we got one side here with that captured screw in. We can go ahead and set this guy down. And now at this point, you should have the other half of your TS12 laying down. You should be able to see your trigger, the linkage, your safety, your mag release, and then your barrel, piston, and your mag tubes are all one piece. You can go ahead and just lift that out of the frame. Okay. Just like that. There you go. We'll go ahead and set that on the side. Something I want to mention real quick is your carrier release lever just kind of sits in the back here. Okay, so make sure you don't lose that. Once we go ahead and reinstall this, I'll tell you folks how to do that. So you got that on the side. Okay, so you got your barrel and your mag tubes here. We're gonna go ahead and drop that mag tube. Okay, you're gonna need a flathead screwdriver, a pretty big one. On the front here, there's a flathead screw that retains your mag tubes. You're gonna go ahead and just pull this guy off. Okay, set that on the side. Now to actually get this to drop, you don't want to force it out or anything like that. All you're going to do is you're going to turn your mag tube so that all of your followers collapse, and then just slide it out. Just like that. Okay, so we got our barrel, we got our piston and everything up here. This is all together, and then we've also got this mag tube. And like I said, folks, I haven't figured out a way to break this apart. I tried to take it apart and it just wouldn't go. I don't really think it's made to come apart. And if one of you guys figure it out, better for you, best on you guys, right on. I bow down. Let me know how you did it so we can all educate each other. We'll go ahead and set this on the side. And then inside of the frame, that will be the right side of your firearm, you've got your trigger, your safety, and everything in here. If you want to take this out, you can. Just go ahead and push your safety out. Okay, and there's going to be a safety detent that's going to come flying out if you're not careful. So just kind of put your thumb on it. You can just push your safety all the way through. So that's what that is there. We've got our safety detent. I call it a safety detent. I don't know what it is, but there's a spring in here, so make sure you don't lose that guy. And then your trigger and your trigger bar, this whole linkage comes out just like that. Okay, inside of this side of our body, we've also got our mag release. Okay, it's retained by a spring. You just kind of pull it out. It's really easy. I'm not going to go into that because you just pull it out. All right, and that's it. This is a full strip, detail strip, full breakdown of the TS12. Like I said, I'm not going to get into taking this apart here because once I got in here, there's really no reason, I think, for you to do this. I know we all want to be able to break this down and clean it. I don't think you can do it. Once you get in here and you see everything's pretty sealed up, and even if you were to get dirt or something between the body and the mat, I don't really think it's going to cause any type of function issues. I think for the most part, to keep your firearm running, all you need to do is field strip it. You don't really need to do any of this stuff. Okay, we'll go ahead and we will throw this guy back together. So I like to start with the trigger and the trigger bar. You can see it's kind of like a Glock, like there's channels, and you can kind of see where everything goes. Your trigger return spring, you just want to make sure that you bend this guy down so that it's retained against the frame. There's a spot here and you can see how it works. If you're not entirely sure, just go ahead and stick that return spring in there, and then you can feel the tension in your trigger. That's good. Okay, go ahead and take your safety. There's kind of a zigzag mark there. That's going to face back towards the rear of the firearm, and the square open PeaK notch is going to go towards your trigger, and you'll see kind of a detent on your trigger, and that's where this crossbolt safety is gonna accept the trigger and allow it to travel rearward when you pull it back. You'll be able to figure out. You guys are smart. Okay, as for the safety detent, I was kind of like, oh man, what's going on? But if you look at the other side, it doesn't matter which way this goes. You can flip it either way. Just make sure that the point of the safety detent kind of looks like an arrow. That's going to index into the kind of W notches there. You'll see it. You'll figure it out. So just make sure your safety's oriented the correct way. With the safety detent, go ahead and stick the spring in. The black plastic part is going to face out. There's 2 holes on this guy, and it just goes into the one that it fits in. You can't fit it into the other side. Okay, what I like to do is I go spring first. I'm going to push this guy back to compress the spring, and then just push your safety forward until you hear it click. Perfect. Okay, and you can see it retained in there. Right on. Okay, that's good. So we got this going. Let's go ahead and throw our mag tube back into the barrel, and it's the same thing, just like how you took it out. Kind of orient it so that your followers are going to be collapsed. You're going to go rear end first, and there's a PeaK a hole, sorry, a hole that indexes on the screw here. Okay, just go ahead and fit that in. We're gonna compress our followers and move that front end inside. Easy. Okay, right on. Okay, and you can see you can turn it. All good. Don't move the front up and down because it'll come out, but you can turn it, see that works. That's good. Okay, so we got this guy. What I like to do now is we're gonna go ahead and lay the right side of the body. Is kind of the same thing, just in reverse. So we're gonna go ahead and take our mag tube and our barrel. We're gonna lay it down inside of the housing. Okay, and just match it up. You're gonna see channels, especially in the mag tube. There's a ring. Everything fits together real tight and real nice. It's kind of hard to miss where things need to go because it's gonna just fit in. Okay, so just make sure all your seams are correct, nothing's crooked. But once you get it in the right place, you'll know it fits together like a puzzle piece, real nice. Okay, so we got that in here. We're gonna go ahead and take the other side, and this is kind of the tricky part. So what I like to do is, again, we're gonna use this ring around the mag tube as a reference, and you're gonna match that up with the ring on this side where that ring goes into. Okay, and make sure that captured screw also goes in all the way to the other side. And it might take a little bit of playing around, but you'll get it. Just figure it out. It's just like a puzzle piece. It fits together real nice. Snap your seams together. Okay, check all the way around. It's gonna meet up. Everything's gonna marry correctly. The top's gonna marry correctly. Okay, everything's good. Okay, right on, perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna reassemble this guy. What I like to do is make the safety first. Okay, so make sure we get the little safety screw. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and drop our safety inside. Push your safety to fire, so it pops out. It's a little bit easy to get to. Go ahead and drop your safety in there. There's only one way for it to go. It's super easy. Okay, go ahead and stick your screw inside. Get that 1.5 drive metric and tighten this guy down. Okay, I'm not gonna put the heat on it. All right, just finger tight. Don't want to be stripping these screws out or doing anything like that. When I was taking this apart, I found that there was some kind of thread locker on these guys. So go into detail a little bit more about which ones you can crank down and which ones you kind of want to, I think, put some blue Loctite on or some type of thread locker, and you don't want to be cranking them too hard. Okay, so we got our safety in. At this point, you can kind of like just hold the two sides together and you can click your safety on and off, and it should sound okay. It shouldn't be making any kind of weird noises or anything like that. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll put in the rearmost screw that's by your carrier release, and we're also going to put the carrier release lever back. So if you look at the carrier release, it's sloped, and you want to make sure that the higher end of the slope is facing towards the rear of your firearm, because that is going to react with this button in your trigger housing that's going to drop your carrier. Okay, so just go ahead and slide that in here. Okay, and you can see that there's a little hole that the two legs are gonna pop out. It's real. There's only one way that it can go. So this guy, you can put it in backwards, but I just told you how to not do that. Everything else, there's only one way for it to go. Okay, once you get that inside, we'll go ahead and we'll put this screw inside. Okay, and at this point, you're just throwing everything back inside. So the remaining 5 screws that are in the grip and up by your gas adjustment, just go ahead and put these all back, just like how you took them out. Okay, these last 2 screws, the one that's up by your piston, up by your charging handle, and the one that's by your mag release, you don't want to crank those guys down. Like I said, when I took mine off, it had some sort of thread locker on it. If you tighten these 2 guys down too much, it's going to make it difficult to rotate your mag. So go ahead and throw a little bit of blue Loctite or something, some sort of removable thread locker on it, and you just want to kind of tighten them down so that they don't come off, but you don't want to put the heat on it and like really crank them down. Okay, lastly, we can go ahead and put the screw back into the front of our mag tube. Okay, this guy, you can make it pretty tight. There's a crush washer on it, and when I was pulling this off, it was pretty nice and tight. Okay, once we got those guys on, we'll go ahead and we'll drop our PeaK rail back on. Real easy, just like how it came off, match it up. Slide on real easy, and then we've got the last screw. After all these screws that you're taking off and putting on and making all kind of stuff with, this is the last one, so let's celebrate a little bit. Okay. This one obviously it's your PeaK rail, so you can tighten this guy down pretty good. Okay, right on, folks, and then all that's left now is to reassemble like you were cleaning it. Okay, my friends, right on. So we've put everything back together. Definitely at this point you're gonna want to do a function check, because you totally tore everything down and put it back together. Make sure our finger's off the trigger. If I'm pointing in a safe direction, you go ahead and pull your trigger. We should have a dead trigger at this point. Okay, when we go ahead and charge our firearm, the bolt should lock to the rear. Perfect, right on. We'll go ahead and close it, drop the bolt, send it home. It's good. Okay, and then now we should be able to cycle our bolt. Shouldn't lock back. Right on. We should hear the carrier drop when we hit this release. Nice. Okay, lock open. We'll go ahead and check our mag tube. Push your mag release, and nice and smooth. Everything's right on, right good. And remember, if it feels tight, if it feels sticky, anything's weird, it's because you made these a little bit too tight. So you're gonna want to back those off a little bit. Okay, we'll go ahead and drop the bolt one more time. Check our trigger. Your safety should engage positively. Not make any weird sounds or anything like that. Mine's perfect, of course. Okay, make sure it stays safe. It doesn't fire when it's unsafe, and make sure your trigger breaks when you want it to. Perfect. And then the last thing we'll go ahead and do, if you folks have access to snap caps or any of these like practice dummy loads, they're really good for practicing reloads, practicing malfunctions. You just go ahead and throw a couple in here. Okay, and we want to make sure everything's good. So make sure our trigger's dead. Lock the bolt back to the rear, cycle our magazine, and we should get that awesome auto load. Nice. Okay, cool. Pull the trigger. Okay, this should kick out the round, and we should have the next one load the right way. Don't want it to fly 20 feet away. There we go. Nice. Okay, right on. Perfect. Kill our trigger. This should lock open. We're good to go. Right on, folks. So that was the full disassembly, the detailed strip of the IWITS-12. I hope you guys found that useful. And like I said, if anybody out there is able to figure out how to tear down this mag tube, please let me know. Educate me. I'm working on the 1,000 round review. I've had more than 1,000 rounds through this, but I'm just trying to do a real good job of giving you folks some serious reflections on owning this firearm for a long time, but I love it. Anyways, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Aloha.